Continuing, there are videos that can be used to make a meaning clear, and vocabulary is acquired through contextual clues. The video, for example, or pictures, all right? The grammar is in focus through its relevance. So teacher calls attention to verb patterns and explains why they are used in that particular way. So if the teacher is explaining simple present, for example, the teacher is going to tell students why simple present is used in that particular situation. There is also homework for ensuring competence, the ability to read, to write, to discuss, and various examples are used to support the learning process. The video, for example, and sentences that the teacher uses, vocabulary clues. So this is part of the approach, using examples to support learning. There is also something called the adjunct model. It is a regular academic course with the language course linked to the academic course. So there is a teacher that helps students in the process of language learning in order to understand the academic content. So these teachers, they work as kind of instructors that help students complete tasks and the academic content as a whole. There is also something called sheltered language instruction. It's a little bit different because the non-native speakers, they follow a regular academic curriculum as well, but they acquire a second language along this process of the academic course. So they get proficiency of the second language with the course. This way they don't have to postpone works and finishing their academic course. There is also something called competency-based instruction, and it is an effective form of based instruction for adult immigrants. This method offers students the possibility to develop a second language skill with life coping and surviving skills. For example, the immigrant will learn how to fill out a job application or to answer the phone, simple things that will help their everyday life. Task-based instruction is another methodology that aims to provide the learner with a natural context of language use. So the learner completes tasks by interacting with each other in order to facilitate the acquisition of a second or foreign language. So they assimilate the knowledge of the target language by talking to each other, using each other's knowledge. So the central purpose is language learning. The tasks presented to the group, presented to the class, involve problem solving negotiation, and between knowledge that the learner holds and new knowledge. So one learner might have another level of knowledge, a superior level of knowledge, and they're going to share and negotiate their discussion so that the student has a superior level of knowledge, can share this information with the other students, and this other one will acquire this new knowledge. The principles of task-based approach is that students produce answers interacting with each other. The teacher can ask questions to see how involved learners are in the process. The teacher does not simplify language. Whatever language and vocabulary the teacher needs to use, she or he is going to use it. The important thing is to make meaning clear. So if she has to use three different words or synonyms, she will to make meaning clear. The teacher will ask WH questions and yes/no questions, all that's necessary for students' understanding based on a content. Um, there is the example of a class with a timetable. The teacher in this activity gives students to engage in authentic speaking and listening, providing the opportunity for them to develop their comprehension and speaking skills. So students ask each other questions in order to develop their skills even more through more interaction. The teacher provides the correct form of using language. So she does not correct students, she just repeats the correct form of language. There are three types of tasks for PABRU: the information gap activity, the opinion gap activity, and the reasoning gap activity. The information gap activity involves exchange of information among participants in order to complete a task. For example, drawing each other's family trees after sharing information. So they tell each other about their family, and the other one has to complete the friend's family tree. The opinion gap activity requires students to give their personal references, opinions, feelings, and attitudes in order to complete a task. There is an example where students might be given a social problem, such as unemployment or women's issues, and they are asked to find the possible solutions to these problems. The reasoning gap activity encourages a more sustained engagement with meaning. So it requires students to derive some new information by inferring from information they have been given. The example of where there is an example where students might be given a railroad timetable and be asked to work out the best route to get from one place to another. The participatory approach by Paulo Freire. So Paulo Freire developed this method in the 60s, but it only got diffused in the 80s. This participatory approach also uses content that is meaningful to students and any forms that are worked upon emerge from that content. So students are the ones responsible for a class. They are the ones responsible for bringing content to class. The nature of content is then based on students' issues, on students' problems. Paulo Freire developed a native language literacy program for slum dwellers and peasants here in Brazil, and the program was developed through the use of dialogues learners had about their problems. So for Freire, education is meaningful to the extent that it engages learners in reflecting on their relationship to the world they live in and provides them with a means to shape their world. The goal of participatory approach. The goal is to help students understand the social, historical, or cultural forces that affect their lives and then help empower these students to take actions and make decisions in order to gain control over their lives. The method taken to an English class or to a foreign language class. Students, there is the example of students that are immigrants to the United States, and they come from Central Europe, and they are adults who work during the day and go to class at night. These students in class, these students discuss their personal issues, their everyday problems, and the teacher uses their discussions, their problems from the previous classes to work with the group. So the discussion held in the first class is going to be the theme of the second class, and so on. The teacher then shows a picture, and students are asked to imagine the feelings and the experiences that people in the picture go through, and relate to their own experience in an attempt to contextualize the class. The participatory approach is under the umbrella of content-based instruction, and it also uses topics for specific purposes, content for specific purposes. Themes derive from, as I said, real issues, real problems that students have, problems that affect their daily lives. Languages learned as a vehicle to solve social problems. Students are encouraged to take ownership of their learning and collaborate with each other and with the teacher. The goal is to use language to provide solutions to social problems that impact these learners' daily lives. The role of teachers and students in the participatory approach. The teacher is seen as a guide, as a facilitator of the learning process. The teacher does not act as a depositor of information, and students do not act as recipients for receiving that information, for keeping that information. The teacher and students collaborate with each other. Educators are then not limited to teaching language, but helping students make use of the language that they are learning. Teachers equip students with the power of words. They provide new possibilities, new perspectives. Students are the ones who generate the topics, the theme of the classes. Students are encouraged to work with fellow students in pairs or in small groups or with the whole class. Students' participation is then essential to the learning process, as they are responsible for the theme, the discussions, the solution of problems presented in class. Specifically about the class participatory approach, the topics generate from students' realities in order to make up for an authentic, meaningful learning experience, as I said before. So the topics issued in class might be women and women's empowerment, immigration, childcare, unemployment, healthcare, barriers to education, and the activities as students have to collaborate with the teacher and with each other are pair work, group work, whole class work, dialogues and discussions, problem posing, and problem solving. The vocabulary used. The vocabulary items are specific to the theme to enrich learning. And this vocabulary is used to writing, speaking, and reading exercises. Well, that's it. That was content-based, task-based, and participatory approaches. Bye-bye.